what we're going to show today is some different things that you can try to help your dog stop pulling on the leash. And one of the most important things is that no matter what method you're using, is that they don't have success at pulling to go where they want to go or get to what they're trying to get to. So the biggest thing, that if they're pulling, that they don't have success with it. You could think of it as a child in a grocery store whining or having a temper tantrum because you don't want to buy them candy or a toy. If you cave into that, it's just going to be worse next time. They're going to learn very quickly that this bad behavior can get them what they want. And because outside there's so many exciting and interesting things going on, they're much more likely to be rewarded by whatever it is they're trying to pull to. So I'm going to show you a few different things that you can practice to help teach your dog that pulling isn't as beneficial as some other behaviors that are more positive for you. So the first thing is you're going to use, see right now they're pulling. They see something over there, not sure what it is, but I'm not going to let them keep pulling. I'm going to stop moving and kind of pull them back to me. So I'm going to give them, there's a few different things I can ask them to do, one of which is calling them to me. So first I need to get their attention. Good, come on boys, good. Very good boys, very good. So good, okay, let's go. This is also, walks are such a great opportunity, not just for just a stick they want to go check out. Walking is a great opportunity, of course, to let them go to the bathroom and explore their environment, but it's also a good place to practice different cues, verbal cues or hand signals, whatever it is that you like to use. And since coming when called is also another common problem, it's a great opportunity to practice that. So I'm not going to necessarily wait until my dogs are distracted, but I can practice calling them at any time. You know, right now they're mildly distracted by something that smells really good over there. So again, if I call, you can use a whistle or, come on boys, come on. Good boys, very good, very good. Good, good boys. I want them to actually pay attention to me and come all the way up to me. Sometimes that can be hard to do, but I can use the leash to help me if I can't get them to come over to me. I can also use treats or a toy to reward them when they get to me, as well as obviously praise and maybe a little back scratch. But one of the biggest rewards they're getting when they come to me, or they're going to do some other things that I ask them to do, is they get to go back to sniffing and exploring. So I use a cue for that is okay, go ahead. Or you can use other things like free or go sniff or break, whatever your cue is. But it's nice to have a verbal cue that means, okay, you have free time now. So you've done what I wanted you to do, good job, but now you can explore, which is an extra bonus. So again, when they're a little distracted, come on boys, yay, good boys, very good boys, very good. So again, it's a great opportunity to practice recall. Good, okay, go ahead. So they did what I wanted, they get to go back to what they were doing. They got what they wanted. Win-win. So as they get better at it, you can use it when they're pulling, and when they're more distracted, they're more likely to listen to you. If you don't practice when they're only mildly distracted, they're never going to pay attention to you when they're more distracted. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. So another thing I can ask them to do is, instead of coming to me, I can ask them to wait, which is basically stopping where they are and letting me catch up to them. So right now they're over here. Okay. So again, I'm going to get their attention first. Boys, wait. Wait. Good. Very good. Good job. Normally I would give them a cookie when they do that. It's a little hard to demonstrate with two of them, just because sometimes you'll see one listens better than the other one. Zion. Good. Very good. Okay, let's go. So I'll demonstrate the wait cue again. So we're walking along. Zion, wait. Good. Very good. Good boy. Okay, let's go. Good. So maybe your dog hasn't learned weight. There's other ways to teach that. I have other videos on some different examples of how to teach weight, both at gates, stairs, crates, with treats, different scenarios. So if your dog's already learned that, it's such a great tool you can use on a walk. Maybe you're walking on a trail and they're up ahead and you want them to stop and wait for you so you can pick the way you want to go. Or just you need to shorten them up. So there's a lot of reasons to use weight. Maybe you don't necessarily need them to come back to you. Another thing that you can do is sometimes they're just too excited or too distracted to listen to any sort of verbal cues, or maybe they haven't learned them yet. So sometimes you just have to use the leash pressure. And what I'm going to do for that is when they start getting to the end of it, I know it's coming, and they're about to put a little pressure on the leash, and you have to decide for yourself how much pressure is too much. You know, is 1 pound too much? Is 5 pounds too much? With a retractable leash, they do keep a little bit of tension on them all the time. So it's hard to say like, oh, I'm going to keep slack in my leash, which is normally what I want to do, is I want to use a leash where I can create a little slack for them. So in this case, with the retractable leash, there's very light pressure with the retraction, but there's still a little something there. So when I want them to stop pulling, what I'm going to do is apply a little pressure to the leash, enough to stop him so I can catch up. Go ahead, let's go. So it's the same idea as the wait command, except if he doesn't know the command, I'm just using the leash to do it. So if they're just, let's go guys, if they're just pulling a little bit, you can keep walking and use the leash, apply a little pressure to stop them, and then to allow you to catch up. The important thing with this is, one, that they actually stop, and two, that you immediately create a little slack in the leash. You're not holding them in the stopped position for you to catch up. It's just a cue, it's a signal. As I apply a little pressure, get them to stop, and then create slack again. So if they're pulling harder, so you may not want to keep walking. Maybe you feel off balance, or they're pulling too hard and you're struggling to hold them. You can also stop. So if I stop moving, again, I can now this time, instead of stopping them, I'm actually going to pull them towards me slightly so that I can create a little more slack. I'm gonna lock the leashes so you can kind of see this better. Let's go. So Zion there started pulling. I'm going to stop, pull him towards me a couple steps. He came more closer to me than he really needed to. Let's go. But I want to show you how you create the slack again. Let's go. So if they're pulling harder, I'm going to stop, pull the leash a little bit so they pull towards me, and it's not a yank, it's not a bump, it's just a gentle pull on the leash where you're doing it just enough. Okay, let's go. Good boys. Doing it just enough to make them move towards you just a couple steps, helping to create a little bit of slack. So we're not just keeping them from getting to what they're trying to pull towards, but we're also showing them what we want them to do, which is really, really helpful for them to understand, oh, what am I supposed to do instead? So because I've stopped moving, I can put myself in a better stance, or I can be better balanced if they're pulling really hard. I can also kind of keep my elbow tucked in so I don't get my shoulder pulled forward and injured. I can also, if they're still diligently pulling, like right now we don't have anything that's super exciting. If another dog or maybe some people were walking down the street and they saw that, they'd be much more excited to pull towards that. Right now we just have more interesting smells. But other things I can do, I can also back up when I call them. I'm going to let them, or when I pull the leash, I can pull them. If I back up, it really helps. Good boys. Draw them to me. Good, let's go. It really helps encourage them to come to me more. They're really drawn by movement. They really like chasing things that move, right? Especially things that are running away from them. So you can back up and call them, or just back up and, kind of pull on the leash to get them to come towards you if they don't know the come command very well. You can also turn and walk the other way. It's hard for me to demonstrate since I'm holding the camera while I'm walking. But right now, see how they're out in front of me? If I turn and walk the other way, let's go guys, and then kind of going to call them, now they have to catch up to me. So they're not pulling anymore, they're catching up to me. I don't know if it's obvious in the video. Let's go. So you've got a few different things you can ask them to do, which is coming to you or stopping and wait, or just using the leash to stop them if they don't know the cue. You can also do a healing exercise, which again I show in another video in more detail. When they're healing, they're less likely to pull because their head's not down and they're not sniffing. So that can be kind of a useful thing to kind of show them, help them understand, like, okay, pulling isn't going to work. And then different things you can do yourself if they're pulling is you can get them to back up while you're walking, or you can stop moving and get them to come towards you, or you can back up to get them to come towards you again, or turn and walk the other way. So the harder your dog is pulling, the more you actually need to move away from what they're pulling towards, to kind of gives an extra impact on them that, hey, not only are you not going to get to go to what you're trying to pull towards, but we're going to go the other way. We're going to go away from it to show them that it's going to take you even longer to get to that object, whatever it is. So it takes a bit of practice. Some dogs learn more quickly than others. They catch on more quickly. Some are much more motivated by other things. So it really depends on how much you motivate them yourself. You can use treats, toys, praise, running with them. Dogs really love playing games. So, if they start pulling and I turn and run the other way and say, oh my gosh, come on, let's go guys, let's go, let's go. They love running with me. They love chasing me. So there's a lot of great things you can do to help get their attention while you're on walks, to help get them to not pull on the leash. It takes a lot of practice and consistency. When we get tired or we feel like we're in a rush, we tend to kind of just go, oh well, I just gotta let them go to the bathroom. And unfortunately, every time you let them, have their way, like the little kid in the candy store having a temper tantrum, it's gonna make it harder on you next time. If you have a super excited dog that really pulls a lot, you may want to consider other tools to help you, either other types of collars or a gentle leader. Certain types of harnesses help with pulling. You can see Zion's wearing a Freedom No Pull harness, which has a clip in the front, which when he goes to pull, it helps turn him around so he'll turn towards me. It does have a clip on the shoulders as well, which I don't typically use unless I actually want him to help pull me up a hill. But also, if your dog, again, is super excited and pulls a lot on walks, something else you can do to help yourself with your training is don't use the walk for exercise. Give them exercise before you go on the walk. Play ball, run around the yard, teach them to jump over things, try and wear them out a little bit before you go for the walk. So you can use the walk as a training exercise until they get the handle on it better, and then you can start using it more for exercise. But when a dog is fresh and super excited, sometimes they're just so much more likely to pull on you. So if you take the edge off of that energy, wear them out a little bit more before you go out, it's going to make your life a lot easier. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.